Hey guys, so I just wanted to hop on here and talk about my experiences with a C-section and kind of my birth story and what it's been like recovering from a C-section. So when I first got pregnant, we weren't trying. Um, so it was a little bit of a surprise, but the best surprise. And pretty much from then on, I knew I didn't want to use any medical interventions. I wanted to try and have the most natural birth as possible. So I was like, I'm not going to get an epidural. I wasn't dead set on using nothing, but I wanted to try without. So if the time came and it was unbearable, I knew that if I gave in, I wasn't going to be upset about it. And that's part of the reason I never came up with a birth plan, because I was like, I want to try for natural, but if it doesn't work out that way, that's okay. And good thing I didn't write up a birth plan, because I think it would have really stressed me out. Especially since I ended up having an elective C-section, or scheduled, I guess I should say. When I was 36 weeks pregnant, I got really, really sick out of nowhere, and because it was so, I don't know, like vicious, I don't know, it was just pretty extreme. Like I couldn't stop throwing up, and I was having diarrhea really bad for a few hours, and I was kind of worried about the dehydration. Then also because you read stuff online and it's like, okay, why is this happening? So it kind of freaked me out. So I went to the emergency room, and it was there that they gave me an ultrasound, like in the family birthing unit. They gave me an ultrasound which discovered my baby was breech. And so I tried every natural thing I could do. I did acupuncture, and I went for like massage. I even tried the ECV, if you watched my last video, trying to help turn the baby. But I didn't want to try too much because I just felt like, maybe he was like that way for a reason, and there was a reason I wasn't going to be able to deliver vaginally. So I ended up going in for a C-section at 38 weeks and 5 days. And on a side note here, I don't know if you guys are spiritual at all, but I saw this lady who was telling me about like life purpose stuff. And she had said to me that if I would have had a natural birth, this is before I had the baby, so vaginal birth, I would have been dealing with a way, way worse. It just wasn't safe for baby because I have lower back problems and all of this stuff. And at the time I didn't know that I have scoliosis and a weird messed up pelvis. So baby could have gotten stuck and maybe wouldn't have made it through the labor. I don't know. She just said that the C-section is the safest thing. And my recovery, if I would have done vaginally, would have been horrible, and I would have been left with like really bad back problems for the rest of my life. So I don't know if that's true, but I choose to believe that everything happens for a reason, and the safest thing for babe was to come out via C-section. So going in for the C-section was so stress-free. Like we just walked in with our bags. We knew I was gonna have a baby, so like that's a really weird feeling, knowing like in a few hours I'm meeting this human that I just grew inside of me for like 9 months, almost 10 months. Like that's crazy. I can't even explain it. It gets me all like, woo, like my heart starts fluttering, because it's just, it's the coolest thing, knowing like this is it, and you just go in and you know what's happening. So that was really nice. Getting prepped for the C-section was all good too. My biggest fear, and part of the reason I didn't want an epidural, was because I was so scared of a needle going in my back. Like it freaked me out. I don't like needles. I don't mind them. Like I'm not super scared of them, but it still freaked me out. So that's part of the reason I didn't want a C-section. That was the scariest part for me, knowing like, oh my God, I have to get a needle in my back. And it wasn't even bad. Like they numb you and you don't even feel it. So it's not bad. So they like wheeled me into the operating room after like getting me all prepped and stuff. And I found the C-section, like, it's a breeze. You don't feel anything. It's kind of fun. The room's super cold, and there's all these people looking at you, and they put up the little sheet, and my midwife and another surgeon were just talking about all this other stuff, and it's just so, like, for them, they do it every day, multiple times a day, so it's not a big deal. And even though you're getting like cut open, you don't feel anything, and it's the coolest thing because they start like tugging and you can feel it, and that freaked me out too. But it was actually cool because it's like, oh my God, you knew they were getting closer, like, oh my God, the baby's gonna come out. And then all of a sudden the baby just starts screaming and crying, and it's their first cry, and it's like the most, I don't know, it's really hard to explain the emotions in that moment, because it's just like, wow, the baby's here. So they handed me over the baby, put him on my chest after cleaning him up quickly. And he tried to latch right away, which was so cool. Like, how do they just have this nature that they know, like, go for the boob? And so he laid on me for a few minutes, and then my now husband took him out of the room and then sat with him until I was all stitched up. And that part was great. Like, you're on cloud nine, you're still numb from all the pain medication and like the epidural, so you can't feel the rest of your body, and it's fabulous. When that wears off, it is, for me, was horrible. Like, I've also never had a surgery or really gone through anything before, so I've never had to recover from anything that's painful or like my body being cut open. So this was my first time, and it was horrible, and my body did not respond well. So like the first 2 days were the worst 2 days of my life, I can say that for sure. I was in so much pain, and they tried to wean me off of pain medication almost immediately. Like, they gave me the Hydromorph or whatever, but they wanted me off of it pretty quickly. And so I listened, and then when that wore off, the pain was so unbearable, and they took out my catheter that night to force me to have to get up to walk. So like, this is less than 24 hours and they're already making me get up to walk, because they want you out of the hospital as fast as you can, because you're taking up bed space, right? So the catheter came out, and then when I had to try and get up, I fainted, and started convulsing, apparently. I don't know if I had a full seizure or what the hell happened. All I know is Daniel said that I was like convulsing after I fainted, which I fell backwards onto the bed, which is good. At least I didn't fall on the floor, but I'm sure that wasn't very good for the stitches either, like stretching them out, because I fell onto the bed, my head off the bed. It was just disaster. And so that happened. And then because that happened, they gave me back the Hydromorph, because like I couldn't get up to go to the bathroom, and I had to pee. Like, your body's trying to flush all these fluids out, so you're peeing a lot. And it doesn't help that they weren't letting me eat, and because I'd been fasting, so that was almost 24 hours no food. I've never fasted before in my life, so that's a long time. And I also have, like, I don't know if it's blood sugar problems, but I've fainted in the past if I don't eat in the morning. So that was no good. So they started giving me the Hydromorph back, and that made me feel better, but if it wore off, it was like horrendous. And so anyways, then the next morning, next day, yeah, they were trying to tell me like I needed to come off of it again, or else I wouldn't be able to go home if I was still on it, which I was fine with because it was like death. I fainted again, so I got up to go to the bathroom, and I knew it was coming, so I said like, Daniel, I'm gonna faint, and I fainted on the toilet. Luckily I knew, because I fainted sitting down on the toilet before. I leaned back, and so I didn't fall, and I was okay. But it was like, it was just gross. It was horrible, and yeah, you like love your baby, and so like that makes it like, at least I have this thing here that I love, but at the same time you feel so shitty. So anyways, I didn't think I was ready to go home on the second day, and then I was like, maybe I just should, because what's the difference? At least I can be in the comfort of my own home. And I think that was a really good decision leaving. So came home, and from then on, it was hard, but I think it was a good thing that I was forced to move. So I'd have to like walk further to go to the bathroom, walk further to go from like the living room, walk further to go to my bed, all that stuff. Yeah. It is rough though, and some people, they aren't in as much pain, but mine was horrible. And so from then on, like, I'd force myself to walk. I couldn't stand up straight for probably like a week or more. Like, I was bent over a bit because it hurt to pull and stand up straight. So anyways, yeah, after about, I think it was 5 days was the first time I left my house, which is pretty good. Like, that's not terrible. The first 2 days are brutal, and every day after that it gets better. So I think it was about day 4 I made my ass go outside to like walk to the end of my driveway and back, because I knew that if I got moving it would help get things flowing and I would just recover faster. So I didn't do anything hard or strenuous. I just would make myself move a little bit, and it helped me feel better too. So and then from then, yeah, day 5, I went out of the house and I was really tired and it was hard to sit up straight for a long time. So we left pretty quickly, but that was good. And then from then on, I tried to walk every day, not far, but like I would walk to the end of the block and then back and then the end of our street and back and whatever. And so I think by week 2.5 weeks maybe, I went for my first walk like around the block and I felt good, and then I would give myself like 2 days to see if I overdid it, and I didn't. So then I would slowly start adding a little bit more in every other day. And so by week 3 I'd gone on pretty long walks, like 20 minutes let's say, and then would walk, like did a little home workout just to like get my body moving because I was getting really sore from sitting and doing nothing for 3 weeks. That's the longest I've ever taken off from activity. Like I've been active since I was like my whole life, but like playing sports, going to the gym since I was like 14 years old. So that was the longest I've ever taken off doing activity. So my body was not used to it and it made my back sore. Like the rest of my body was super sore. It doesn't help from like your posture and then your breastfeeding and all that shit. But yeah. And from then on, I got cleared at 4 weeks for activity. And I've been pretty good ever since. Like I've slowly just been adding stuff in here and there when I feel comfortable. I'm still being super careful at the gym with certain things. Like I'm not doing hip thrusts. I tried the other day, put a really light barbell on because I didn't think it was where the scar was. I don't know, but after I did that, I was super sore for like 3 days. So still not good to do that. But I've just been really playing it by ear and listening to my body, doing what feels comfortable for me, and yeah, just basically doing what feels comfortable and what feels right, and picking up my intensity as I feel ready to do so. So yeah, when I first went home in the first week, I didn't mention this, I forgot, but I had like uncontrollable shakes and chills, and it would last for like 10 minutes. I couldn't stop shaking, and so that freaked me out because that's like a sign of infection. So I was worried it was the C-section thing, but then apparently it can be from your hormones trying to, like, I don't know, whatever they're doing in your body to try and level out and when your milk is coming in. So I don't know what the hell the deal was with that, but that happened a few times, and only about a week or 2 after giving birth, and it hasn't happened since. But I do still get hot flashes like after I've been feeding or randomly throughout the day. Like I have to rip my clothes off because it's so bad. So still recovering, healing, and once I started to feel comfortable and everything was all healed up, because I was really nervous about pulling the bandages off and stuff and doing the massage thing, because massaging is really good in that area, tissue work to help get everything, the connective tissues moving and healing again. So I didn't do that probably for 3 or 4 weeks, and then I slowly started kind of touching the area and then would massage with oil up above because it's like a really hard strip. And there's lots of research now slowly coming to show that working on your connective tissue and scar tissue is actually really beneficial and saves you from having more problems down the road. So if you feel like it's too traumatic and you have like PTSD, because that's what they call it, about touching it, you can go to therapists and stuff for it. But I started to feel comfortable enough to like push and move it once it was all healed up. And so I should be doing it every day, but I don't. I do it like here and there. And I can feel when I haven't done it because it'll strain or something. Like when I go to stretch, I can feel that it's super tight. And when I do the tissue work, it really helps. So do like massaging and stuff. And the person who pointed this out was Nancy Anderson. I don't know if you guys follow her, but her IG is like Nancy Anderson Fit. And I think she probably has in her stories talking about what to do and the importance of tissue work. So watch it if you had a C-section, because it is important, and more people should be talking about it and letting people know that it's important, because the doctors do not mention that. So yeah, that's pretty much was my experience with my C-section and my recovery so far. Every day it gets better and I feel better, but I am much weaker. So taking it slow and using this as time to like relearn my form, because there are certain exercises I'm sure posture wise like wasn't engaging the muscles perfectly or whatever. So I'm using this as a time to really focus on that mind to muscle connection throughout my whole body while I'm doing exercises, and I'm finding that it's helping a lot with making sure, because I just don't want to injure myself, so form is so important. And like I said, I found out that I have scoliosis, and I don't know if I said that, but I found out I have a bunch of back issues. So I have scoliosis, my pelvis is off, my neck is like 2 inches forward from where it should be, and so that's probably what's been causing me so many different issues throughout my life. I've had scoliosis since birth, which I never really knew until now, and I was in an accident when I was like 16, so I don't know if that contributed to like my back being all messed up, but we're working on it, and I'm still going through and doing my exercise as best as I can. So yeah, if you have any questions, comments, anything you want to know about the C-section, because now it's like 2 months, I'm 11, almost 12 weeks postpartum, so the early days I've forgotten kind of about, but I would love to answer them if you have any. So you can always email me, message me on Instagram, message me, comment below if you have any questions. Yeah, so that's my experience with my C-section and my little birth story of how everything went down, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching!